Today I want to tell you about a warm season cover crop that you probably never heard of before. Sunn Hemp, S-U-N-N-H-E-M-P. Now this is not like the hemp that is grown for medicinal purposes. This here is a legume, and it's a warm season cover crop that works really well in a vegetable garden. Now there's several great options out there as far as warm season cover crops go. You've got your buckwheat, you've got your brown top millet, and you've got your sorghum sudan grass. But this right here, the Sunn Hemp, is the only warm season cover crop that is a nitrogen fixer. So as I mentioned earlier, Sunn Hemp is a legume, which means it's related to things like peas and peanuts. It also means it's a nitrogen fixer, so it's able to grab nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it and translate that into your garden soil. And that's an important thing to have, because when you get rid of the cover crop or you incorporate it in the soil or however you extinguish it, you're going to have lots of nitrogen there available for that next vegetable crop that you rotate in there. So that's going to be very, very valuable nutrients for that next vegetable crop, and it's going to probably reduce your inputs that you have to feed that following vegetable crop. Some studies have shown that this Sunn Hemp can fix up to 100 pounds of nitrogen per acre. So that's a lot of nitrogen in your soil there. That's going to be great, especially if you're following up with a heavy feeder like maybe some onions or corn or something like that. In addition to being a nitrogen fixer, Sunn Hemp is also a really fast growing cover crop. So it's going to give you that weed suppression that you want. So it's going to grow fast, it's going to fill in really nicely. It's going to grow faster than those weeds, outcompete those weeds, so you can kind of reduce the prevalence of those troublesome summer weeds like your pigweed, crabgrass, things like that. It also grows really well in the heat and performs well in dry conditions. So we may have to water it a little bit to get it germinated and get it coming up, but after that it's pretty maintenance free. We won't have to put a lot of effort into growing this Sunn Hemp cover crop. After you get it up and germinated, Sunn Hemp is going to mature or start to flower and go to seed in anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. So it's a pretty short-term cover crop, but a nice one because it grows so fast. It's not going to get super tall. It's only going to get anywhere from about knee to waist high, but it's going to provide a lot of good biomass there. And because it doesn't get really tall, it's not going to be that hard to get rid of it or incorporate it into the soil, till it in, or maybe mow it down and tarp it. Sunn Hemp has a grayish seed that's flattened and almost looks like a little bitty pea. Now you can plant this with our Hoss garden seeder, or you can broadcast it. If you're planting it with a garden seeder, you can take one of our black blank seed plates, the one with a little rim around it, and drill out the holes a little bit, and it works great planting with a garden seeder if you're doing a smaller area. It also comes up well if you just simply broadcast it and rake it in. This plot behind me here is about 1,000 square feet, and this is where I had a lot of my fall and early spring crops, a lot of cool weather stuff. I was rotating in and out of here, lettuce, beets, brassicas, and I'll be honest, I've been farming this spot here pretty hard, probably too hard. And that's another great thing about Sunn Hemp, is because it's a nitrogen fixer, it works really well in an area that's maybe been over-farmed a little bit. Because it's fixing nitrogen, it doesn't need a lot of nutrients in the soil, so you don't have to count on a lot of things already being in the soil. It's going to fix its own nitrogen and help to repair those soils that have been farmed a little too hard. On the edge of this plot, I've got some American giant hybrid sunflowers that I transplanted, and those are doing really well, growing really fast. They're supposed to get about 14 to 15 foot tall. We're going to leave those there and let those continue to grow, but we even strode some of this Sunn Hemp seed amongst those sunflowers there to work on that soil too. So for this plot, I cultivated the area and I just broadcast seeded the Sunn Hemp. Now the recommended seeding rate on this is about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds per 1,000 square foot. But if you're broadcasting, you'll usually find that you use more seed than that. So I went ahead and used a whole 5-pound bag on this area to get some really nice coverage. It's still a little patchy in some spots, but it should fill in nicely as this cover crop grows. I took my 5-pound bag of seed and I tried as best as I could to kind of equally sprinkle it or throw it along that cultivated dirt there. And then I just took my landscape rake and walked along and drugged the area to kind of cover some of those seeds and get some good seed to soil contact. Then we just took our overhead tripod sprinkler and watered it in for a couple hours for about 2 days after we planted it. And man, this stuff germinates and comes up super fast. I was excited to see that only in about 2 days I had Sunn Hemp seeds sprouting out of the ground, which goes back to what I was talking about earlier about how fast this stuff grows. Now, if it stays dry and we don't get any rain, I still will water it overhead periodically just to keep it growing. But I don't expect to have a lot of input into this cover crop here. Once it reaches maturity and starts to flower in a couple months, my plans are to come in here and mow this down and tarp it. Instead of tilling it in, I want to try this tarping method, and I want to kind of maintain the soil structure. So I have a little push mower with a mulching deck on it. I don't want to throw that biomass anywhere. I kind of want to leave it right on top of the soil. So I'll come in here and mow this down, and then I'll put a tarp over it, and hopefully the tarp will help kill the rest of the vegetation and also make for some really nice soil. And once that tarp has done its job, and if I've timed this thing just right, and I hope I have, this is going to be the perfect plot to plant some fall sweet corn in. So we've got this Sunn Hemp that's there that's going to add a lot of nitrogen to the soil. It's going to kind of regenerate that soil, get it back and nice and healthy, and hopefully it will be perfect for fall sweet corn. So if you've got a spot in your garden that maybe you've been farming a little too hard and it needs some regeneration, or maybe you need a good transition crop from spring to fall, where maybe you're planting some fall sweet corn, or maybe even some onions if you live in the South, give this Sunn Hemp a try. I think you'll really be happy with its performance as a cover crop to suppress weeds, add organic matter, and also add that nitrogen that we're going to need for the following crop. We've got this stuff in 1 pound, 5 pound, and 10 pound bags, and we can even do larger quantities if you give us a call. I'll put a link below so you can check out this Sunn Hemp cover crop seed. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.